If someone has a gun and is trying to kill you, it would be reasonable to shoot back with your own gun. The 24th Dalai Lama. When entering the large elevator, the normal way was impressive. But entering from above had a super spy feel to it. A feeling that doesn't last when I saw that the blood from the dead security pony had filled one of the glass boxes with a light bulb on it. I'd say it's 25% spy movie and 95% horror movie. It gave the elevator a bit of a red light to it. Leave her here. If we're going to get her back up safely, it's going to be by this elevator. The white red pony stallion looked to be the one in charge. You there! He walked up to me. Why are you even here in the first place? I'm here as support. Need me to do something? I'll do that something. The stallion face hoofed. So you're here to be useless. This is fantastic. I'll be moving the box. I spoke up. It's not a difficult job, or one that needs skill, but I bet I'm the only one here who can do the job without compromising the group. There were 3 security ponies who needed to stay on guard, and 1 tech that we could not risk losing. So the important job of lugging the big box down to where we needed it to be fell to me. The white security pony snorted. Fine. But if I tell you to stay put, then you stay put. If I tell you to run, you run. You got it? Of course. The stallion snorted and walked away from me. I didn't get the feeling that I belonged in this group, nor would we have the time to chat and get to know each other. The 4 ponies were the white stallion who was leading the group, a red unicorn security mare, a green earth pony security stallion, and a gray unicorn tech stallion. The security ponies were armed with 10mm submachine guns and batons. The tech only had his lab coat. Every pony checked over their guns, turning the safeties off and putting a bullet in the chamber. I did the same, looking over the .45 pistol to get a better feel of what musket ball gave me. The pistol was mostly a dull gray with a lighter gray around the mouthpiece. Along the side of the barrel was 2 words engraved into it. Chekhov's promise? Placing it into the holster, I took a deep breath to steady myself. It's all clear, so let's move. The white pony pressed the button to open the door. The stallion was correct. There was no pony on the other side, except for half navy pony mare, just to the side. Her upper body laid on its side, with her lower body nowhere in sight. But for having half a dead pony inside the lobby was surprisingly clean of any blood. The literal fuck? Mr. Green took a step back, as did I. That's one we don't have to worry about. Mr. White took a step forward, and then a few more. Walking up to the body, he took a closer look at the body. The wound is burnt and clean. He shook his head. No time for this. Let's get moving. Mr. White trotted away through the only door in the room. The others followed closely behind him. I decided to take a closer look at the body. The poor mare's face looked like it was frozen in shock. Terror. Something felt familiar about this. But that I'd seen it before, but that... Also, if some pony is even a little out of the safe zone, then zap. Half of them is in one stable, and the other in the one they started in. Emerald Field's description of how a pony could die if only part of them was teleported didn't do the real thing justice. I can truly understand now why they were being so careful with just getting the calibrations right. I can only guess it was Thorn who teleported. She did have those 2 unicorns with her. I could hear the soft hiss of the door opening. Damn it, slowpoke. Stick with the Rack? Mr. White was interrupted by a bullet to the head. The blood and gray matter reached all the way to the elevator. The other 2 security ponies fired back, holding their SMGs at where the bullet came from. Mr. Gray jumped out of the line of fire, hiding under a bench. I was in no danger of being shot from my position, but I couldn't risk the gas being damaged, so I looked around for a hiding spot. Not far from me was a stack of boxes and crates. Coming behind them, I placed the metal box of the gas behind a large wooden box to keep it safe. Looking back over the lobby, Miss Red and Mr. Green had moved to the side of the door, getting themselves out of the line of fire. The room became almost quiet, except for the humming and pulsing sound coming from the lab deeper in Labs D. "Here it comes!" Mr. Green yelled. It wasn't until a few seconds later that some of the red bars showed up on my EFS. Tap thump, tap thump, tap thump. A familiar sound made my heart race. I pulled out my battle rifle and yelled as I armed the rifle. "It's a power-armored griffin! Get the fuck back!" The two security ponies just looked at me, not moving, like I said. They instead reloaded their guns, looked back at each other, nodded to each other, jumped back in the doorway and unloaded their SMGs. Their action worked out as well as I thought it was going to, but the griffin didn't shoot back. Instead, the griffin charged into the room. The two security ponies jumped out of its way. The griffin's armor was dented, scored, and its helmet looked like it took a few very hard hits to it. Somehow, Leo Thunderfeathers had gotten to Labs D before me. The two security ponies reloaded their SMGs and fired again. Bullets ricocheted everywhere as the griffin stood there unfazed. Turning his head to Miss Red, Leo walked over to her. The poor mare backed up as she attempted to reload her SMG in panic, failing to get the magazine in. Tap thump, crack. The griffin stumbled from the shot of its back, and quickly turned around to look at me, smoke rising from the barrel of my battle rifle. That armor may be able to shrug off 10mm rounds, but 308 bullets seemed to do the trick. Though it was strange, the shot I made seemed to have more of a kick to it than at the firing range. "You!" I didn't know if this griffin had a shit list, but if he did, I would be on it. Crack! A shot to the chest, and I think it only pissed Leo off more. The griffin pulled out his pistol and charged. I entered Sats. With time slowing to a crawl, I had time to think of a plan. By plan, I mean not getting killed by the pissed-off griffin. Hit and run was my best option, so I used my first option to attack. Looking over the Leo Thunderfeathers, his name appeared in my vision. I only saw two interesting things that could help me. That was that both his head and left leg were in really bad shape. The medical scan function may not have been meant to help in combat, but it was giving me two really good targets for me to shoot at. Leo's head gave me a 50% chance of a hit, but the leg gave me an 80%. So I picked the leg. My second action, I chose to dash out of the way. The large and armored griffin started to look like an oncoming train. Crack! I practically jumped out of Leo's path by a hair's breadth. The sound of wooden boxes breaking under the power-armored griffin filled the room. "You fucking pony! I'm gonna shove this gun so far up your ass that you will kiss the barrel!" The griffin struggled to get up, throwing pieces of the box across the room. I bet that Leo can do it. He looks like he could. The two security ponies reloaded their SMGs into the griffin again. I joined in, firing 3 shots at Leo, stopping before I fired the 7th round. The ammo indicator on my EFS clearly showing me that I had 2 bullets left in the gun. Leo got up, looked at me, and charged again. This time he was slower and he ran with a limp. I entered Sats again, and his head now gave me an 85% chance to hit. I picked it twice. Crack, crack. The griffin stumbled over, slowing down but didn't stop. I had made a mistake abandoning the hit and run plan. Grabbing me by the belt and gun holster, the rifle fell from my hooves. Close up, I could see that his helmet had been so shot up now that one of his eyes were exposed. That eye looked beyond pissed off. I could feel the barrel of his gun placed next to my head, but I didn't dare to look. "You got a name, pony? I'll be sure to etch it into my armor after I kill you!" The two security ponies jumped onto the griffin's back. The gun went off, grazing my cheek, making my ear ring as though I'd just used my head to ring a school bell. The mare flew across the room. The stallion hit the ground hard. I just flung around like a rag doll in the griffin's grasp. In an up-close battle, no pony stood a chance. The brief fight was enough time for Sats to recharge. Musketball knew what he was doing, making this program. The name's Slow Trot. The Leo slowly turned his head back to me, and I entered Sats. I picked the first action to draw Chekhov's promise, and the second to fire at the Leo's eye. It gave me a 20% chance to hit, but if I said it was possible, I had to take it. Time quickly returned to normal. I saw my gun levitate into Leo's head. That's a stupid net! Bam! The pistol flew behind me, and Leo fell to the ground. His vice-like grip let go, and when we hit the ground, there was no curses on my name, no last breath. Leo had simply fallen over, like I had turned his power armor switch off. Now that I think about it, I did just that. It was called killing. It must be the helmet. Probably makes offing the bastards much easier when you did it to the mare. I didn't answer Fragment. If it was going crazy, I'd want the others to know. Suit yourself, but it's better to be crazy and alive than sane and dead. Just saying. Looking around, the great tech pony came out of his hiding spot. Where? The griffin? I looked back at the dead Navy pony, giving me a simple and very troubling answer. Thorn must have teleported him in. I was expecting Thorn and a hoofful of Navy ponies to deal with. That alone was really a bad situation to deal with. But Thorn could teleport ponies in, which meant she had an army at her hoof tips, right in the stable. Looking for my pistol, it hadn't gone far from after it flew off. The fall hadn't done anything to scratch it, but blood had gotten on it. I didn't know if it was from the griffin or the white stallion, but I quickly wiped it off and placed the gun in my bag, pushing it into the bottom. The tech backed up, shook his head, and bolted the elevator. I just watched. Panic was a natural reaction. So, how was I going to calm him down? I'll go get help. We can't... Crack. The tech slumped over. The top of his head splattered on the elevator button. Ding. The elevator door closed. I could hear it leave me behind. 6 Navy ponies rushed in. 6 battle rifles pointed at me. Oh! You see that? I activated the elevator with a button. Right through the traitor's head. It was the cold, sadistic voice of a mare. I immediately felt a deep pit in my stomach. Thorn stepped into the lobby with a swagger and grin, her eyes scanning the room, stopping at me and raising an eyebrow. Now, who might you be? Her eyes moved from me to Leo's dead body. If you did that, then good. That griffin was charging way too much. Her eyes moved back to me. Now answer me. Slowtrot? My name's Slowtrot. Killing the griffin was luck. Something I was not going to have with her. Slowtrot. Yes. Yes, I remember now. You should be dead. Twice over now, if I'm correct. She turned around and waved a hoof. Take him. If there are others, shoot them. A stallion, much larger than me, stepped over to me. Within a second, his hoof bent my head, and everything faded into darkness. I was sitting at a long wooden table. To my left, everything was bright and sunny. Through the windows, I could see the trees swaying in the wind. To my right, the wood on the table looked worn. The windows were shattered and the trees were bare and black. I looked up to see Fragment at the other end of the table. In their hooves were Chekhov's promise. You know how to use this, right? I nodded. Tell me. I shook my head. We're not going to play this game again, Slowtrot. We don't have time for it. She slid the gun, scratched at the wood, and made his way to me. Now tell me. I sighed. Fine. But it doesn't change anything, Fragment. I picked up the gun in my hooves and looked her in the eyes. Her eyes were now my eyes, a dusty gray. You kill with it. Fragment smiled. That's right. You kill, and you kill, and you kill. Her grin was so wide that it reached ear to ear. You don't stop killing until you yourself are killed. I could hear a gunshot in the distance to my right. It was faint, but it echoed. To my left was a rumbling, and a slight flash of bright green just beyond the trees. Or I can simply stop. I don't have to kill. Not if I don't want to. The glass to my left shattered inwards, shards embedding into the table. The world isn't about killing. Fragment didn't lose her grin as she tilted her head. And then the joke's on you, Slowtrot. That gun right there is proof of it. Chekhov's promise. It means that if you pull that gun out, you're making a promise to shoot it. Now on that note, you should go and wake yourself up. A promise is a promise. The room caught on fire, the green flames melting the glass, turning the table to ash. Placing the barrel of the gun in my mouth, I closed my eyes and pulled the trigger. My eyes shot open, and I found myself wishing that everything was all just a nightmare. Of course, the dream before was the nightmare, and this was the reality. My head pounded from being knocked unconscious. It was a good indicator that I was awake. Thorn was sitting behind a desk in front of me, flipping through some papers. I didn't know of what, but I bet they were important. My gun, Chekhov's promise, was on the desk being used as a paperweight. I could only hope that having it out meant that I would end up shooting Thorn with it, but with my luck it meant that she'd shoot me with it. To my side was her lieutenants, both holding some nasty-looking batons in their magic. Not drowning puppies. I'm shocked. She glanced at the papers and set them down, smiling. Funny that. A lover of mine gave me a puppy once. It shit and pissed all over the floor, and one day it wandered off the ship. We happened to be at sea at the time. She pulled the folder out in front of her and opened it. Now, pleasantry aside, I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to give me answers. Can I get a glass of water first? I screamed and spasmed, and one of the lieutenants struck me with a baton. It turned out to be a stun baton, and it hurt almost as bad as it felt being shot. You only get questions, and you only give answers. First off, I want you to know how you're even alive. My 2600 was set to kill a pony. So then, how are you here? Well, I think my parents had too much cider one. Stun baton hit me again, replacing my attempt to snark with screams and spasms. Thorn didn't say anything, just staring at me. June saved me. She tracked me down not long after I put it on, somehow shut down the pip buck before it killed me. Thorn smiled. Now, was that so hard? Next question. They made alteration to my pip buck, and you had it on for a time. What do you know about the alterations? What did she want? She was teleporting ponies here. That she could make the stable already. But she wanted to know about the pip buck 2600? Stun baton stabled my thoughts, my face slamming into the desk in spasms. They gave the pip buck levitation and a VI. Is that all? What did she want? Yeah, that's it. Thorn waved a hoof, and I felt the stun baton again. Now I've done this for a long time, and I know when a pony is lying to me, or not telling me everything I want to know. It's annoying, really. Sometimes I just can't get them to give me what I want. She waved her hoof again, and the stun baton hit me again. Do you know how much torture a pony can take until they tell me everything I want to know? I shook my head. Well, they will tell me what I want to hear, with only a little bit of it, but will die with the truth just to spite me. The stun baton hit me again, but I know one reliable way around that. So do your best not to think about the pip buck's modifications. It just makes it more fun to see you squirm. My head slammed on the desk as the two unicorns held me down. I could feel a slightly tingly feeling in my head that became a burning sensation which burrowed into my skull. Something was in my head, reaching out and feeling everything. I wanted to get them off, to scream, to pull whatever was out of my head, but I was paralyzed. Images flashed in my head, all clear as day. Collapsing on my floor with the pip buck that was killing me. First meeting June, the pip buck research team, and that creepy video made by Scootaloo. Accidentally hitting Emerald with the coffee cup after levitation spell was installed. Naming it Ironbuck in front of the foals. The plan to connect all the stables with teleportation spells. And later the teleportation test. Even when I handed it over to Healing Herb. The violation finally stopped, and the feeling in my head retracted. Teleportation, ma'am. One of the lieutenants spoke out loud. The other fell to the floor.
Play with a Minotaur, get the horns. And that's it?
Yes, ma'am.
There was a pause, and a very uncomfortable pause. The humming and pulling of Labs D seemed to consume everything as I waited for the inevitable. Lift his head. I felt magic hold me up, and some pole placed under my chin. I had a strong feeling it was the stun baton. Now, Slow Trot. It seems that I overestimated how much you know. Do you know what that means, right? You'll let me go? She was going to kill me. Out of fear, I tried to smile. Smiling hurt. No, I can't do that. You did work with these traitors and kill my mercenary. She leaned back in her chair. So, you're going to kill me then? No. Something better. You're not a member of Stable-Tec, which means you can still be saved. She leaned forward and grinned. If you'll do a little favor for me, then I'll do a big favor for you. I didn't like this. I pulled what little straight I still had, sat up in the chair. What favor? Okay, talking hurt right now. She sat back. I'll see that you will be taken into custody. As a civilian, you'll be seen as a victim in all this, saved by my actions, and be given compensation for your trauma. Stable-Tec's a wealthy company. You don't want to be surprised by a few million bits. So I get out alive, get paid a ton. Be a rather tempting offer if I didn't know who Thorn was or who she had killed. And I do what? She pushed Chekhov's promise over to me. Bring me healing herbs. I had to ask. Couldn't help myself. And what would stop me from helping healing herbs? Click. A heavy collar was placed around my neck, and it beeped. Oh, I think this will be enough to convince a convincing toy to help me over her. That is, if you can survive being decapitated. May Luna fuck me through my ass to mouth with her hoof. I was working for Thorn, if I liked it or not. At least she got the gun. Yeah, maybe I can shoot myself just a spider. Footnote: 50% to level up.